Hello there and welcome everyone. I'm glad that you're joining me. Today I'm going to be sharing how to turn those less than fabulous thrift store finds into beautiful high-end designer looking home decor with some simple DIYs and styling ideas and inspiration. This first project is going to require a thrifted sweater or a sweater that you're willing to part with from your closet. You want it to have a lot of texture, like a cable knit, so that you can get the variation in the weave of the sweater. But you also want to make sure that your sweater is not too thick or bulky for this project. You can use any color, but I wanted to make my project in a neutral, soft color. So I was looking for a creamy off-white sweater and ended up finding this one for $3.99. Like I said, you may also already have one in your closet that you can use. After a good washing and sanitizing, we're going to get started with our DIY. In addition to the sweater, you'll also need 4 floral foam balls, scissors, and a screwdriver. You can sometimes get lucky and find the floral foam balls at the thrift store, either brand new in package or in another project that you can reuse. Lay out your sweater flat and then cut off each of the arms just below the shoulder seam. When choosing your floral foam balls, make sure that they are the right size to fit down in your sweater sleeve. Depending on the sweater, you can go with either larger balls or smaller. Just make sure they fit. Then stick one of the foam balls down in the sleeve. Roughly measure out enough allowance at the top and bottom of your ball, and then trim off the sweater. You're going to repeat this process with the same sleeve and your second ball, cutting off any excess at the bottom. At the end of this project, you will have 4 knit balls that are perfect for bowl fillers as we transition from winter to spring. To secure the sweater around your foam ball, take a screwdriver and punch in a hole at the very center top. And then very gently pull the sweater up and over, and with your screwdriver, tuck it into the hole you just made. Pleat it as you go around and continue just punching that knit fabric down into that little hole. Depending on the bulk of your fabric, you can make the hole bigger or smaller. The knit is very forgiving and it stretches. The green ball grabs the knit sweater as well so that it helps it to stay in place. You don't even need glue with the one that I'm using, but if you feel like it's not secure enough, then you can either use some hot glue down in that hole or some E6000 glue. This makes it super easy. You don't ruin your floral foam ball, so you can use it later if you decide to make another project beyond this. Once you have one side of the sweater tucked into the foam ball, then flip it over and repeat the process on the other side of your knit ball so that you have it all completely sealed in and covered. Do this 4 times for each of your floral foam balls. You have beautiful knit balls for your bowl filler. Let your imagination run wild. You could make these and switch them out for the seasons. Have red and pink for Valentine's Day coming up. I chose this neutral color and am just going to stack a book with my gold fluted bowl and then add my knit balls to that bowl, styling them just very simply here on my TV console in my family room. We don't want to waste the bodice of that sweater, so I'm going to make some little hanging pockets to put florals in as we transition from winter to spring. Start by turning it inside out and laying it out flat. Then I'm going to use that center cable knit texture of the sweater for design on my hanging pocket, leaving a little seam allowance about an inch, inch and a half on each side. It does not have to be perfect. You can eyeball this, just cut down down each side of that design. Be sure that you keep both of your pieces from the front and back together. Cut them at the same time so that they are the same size. Once you have the two side seams cut, then you're going to cut out the neck of the sweater, but keep these pieces. We will be using them here in just a minute for the loop that we're going to add to the little sweater pocket. You could keep this long, or you could cut it in the shape of a stocking and use it for Christmas. But since we are past Christmas, I want to make smaller pockets that are rectangular. So I fold the sweater in half again and cut it. With the pieces still right sides together, I'm going to use a bead of hot glue and go around 3 of the edges, sealing them together, creating that pocket. You could sew this by hand, you could sew this with a machine, you could also use fabric glue, but I found the hot glue to hold secure and be quick and easy. Once you have the 3 side seams secure with the hot glue, turn your sweater right side out, and now you can see how this is starting to come together. To make the loop to be able to hang our knit pocket, take one of those neck pieces that we cut off earlier and saved. I'm going to secure it with hot glue, and then folding it in half, secure the other loose end on the other side of that seam we created on the inside of your sweater pouch. I'm going to reinforce it with some more hot glue, just making sure that it is nice and secure and won't pull apart. If your sweater does not have a neckline that would work very well for this loop, then you can use part of the sleeve that was left over from the sweater balls, or you could use ribbon to secure a loop up here at the top. You can see though, these are just nice little sweater pockets. These would make great gift bags as well. To style it, I'm going to take some faux winter greens and just tuck several of the stems down here into this little sweater pocket so that it peeks out in the corner. And then using some blue velvet ribbon, I will tie just a simple string of ribbon here around the loop to bring some color into this arrangement. You could use any color of ribbon. I think of blue at winter time. Reminds me of all of the snow and icicles. And when we're done, we have used up our entire sweater, as well as then having beautiful high-end looking decor for our home. I'm going to just hang my little sweater pocket on the doorknob for a little touch of winter here as we transition towards spring. I was so excited to find this fruit swag for $4.99 at Goodwill. I knew I could use the paper mache fruit to recreate these inspirational pieces. These started floating around from popular influencers, the Studio McGee pieces, and when those sold out, everybody started flocking to the Amazon pieces. We're going to start by using some wire cutters to snip off all of the paper mache fruit. I am leaving a long stem on them so that they're easier to hold while I paint them, and also to be able to keep them upright as they dry. Once you have all of your fruit cut off, you'll want to wipe them with a damp cloth and let them dry. You also have the rest of this swag that you can cut apart and use for other projects. The first layer of paint is going to be this antique gold. I'm going to stipple it on so that it keeps that paper mache texture. I want it to be rough. I don't want it to be a smooth paint finish. I punched holes in this paper plate, and those long wire stems I left on the fruit make it easy to stand them upright and let them dry. Once they are dried completely, I'm going to go in with this Treasure Gold paint. This is all water-based paint, super easy to work with. And again, I'm going to stipple this paint on. This paint is going to give it a very bright, brilliant gold finish. It's going to look almost exactly like that inspiration piece when I'm done. After that second layer of gold paint dries completely, you will want to be sure you snip off that wire wire stem so that you have the perfect little fruit to add to your favorite bowl in your vignettes on your tables. You could set these up on a tray in a row. So many different ways to style this throughout the year. It's not just a winter decor piece, but you could use this any time of year. I love that bright gold and how it pops and adds that brilliance to home decor. This inspiration piece is what gave me the idea for this next DIY. I thrifted this frame for 99 cents. I see oval frames in the thrift store a lot. I think it is hard for people to know how to reinvigorate them with new artwork and how to style them just because of their unique shape, but that is why I love oval frames in particular. You will want to disassemble your frame, take out the artwork in the glass, and give everything a really good cleaning. You definitely want the surface to be free of any oil, grime, or dirt before you start painting it. I am using chalk paint in the color black with this angled brush to delicately cut in around the gold edging. I wanted to leave that pop of gold. For this project, chalk paint was the perfect choice. You don't have to prime, prep, or sand your piece first. You can just go straight in and paint it. You can seal it in with a chalk paint sealer. If you want to preserve your piece for years to come, then definitely I suggest sealing in your chalk paint. You can find a lot of free domain artwork on the internet. Just search that title and it will pop up. I found this particular piece on Canva. That is the program that I use to create thumbnails and other artwork for my video and over on Instagram. And wouldn't you know that I guess Studio McGee and Threshold uses a lot of free domain artwork. I have found many pieces that they do this with, and I actually found almost the exact tree that they used on Canva. Canva offers paid content, but they also have free options on there if you want to go check it out. I pulled down the Canva print. I made a few modifications to it in the coloring, and then I sent it off to Walgreens and printed it in a large enough size that I could then center it into my frame, cut it out, and reassemble it. And then I have beautiful artwork for very little cost, inspired by those high-end designer looks. This ended up being perfect to hang on the wall or display in a frame stand on my table. It could be used throughout Christmas and the winter months. Just a lovely little piece, and then you just change the artwork out throughout the year and keep using that frame. These resin pine cone candle holders were $1.99 each at Goodwill. There's a tiny chip in one of them. I knew with some TLC and a little DIY, I could make these pinecone candlesticks fabulous. I have been seeing these used in a lot of high-end decor, but did not want to pay the high-end price. So with a little rub and buff in antique gold, we are going to make these candlesticks look brand new. This is so easy. You just take a pea-sized bit of rub and buff on your finger. I always suggest using gloves with rub and buff. It has a very strong odor as well, so use in a ventilated area. And with my finger, I'm just going to dab some of that rub and buff on each little nub of the pine cone, and it just adds something special, that little touch of sparkle and shine. It is going to stand out and be so beautiful in your winter home decor. This is the vignette on my entry table that I'm using these pine cones in, layering it with a thrifted book. The urn is a thrifted find as well. You can get really great pieces at the thrift store, even if you don't make them over like I'm doing here today. You can add that special, unique touch to your home that is one of a kind. This picture came from an estate sale. I paid $6.50 for it. The frame is a little beat up, but I loved this sueded quail print inside. It was a very nice neutral aesthetic, but to dress up that frame and make it not look so drab, I am using more of that antique gold rub and buff. Again, tiny pea size amounts on my gloved finger just to rub back and forth over the frame to pick up the texture. It stays out of the grooves, so you see that it looks antiqued and very nice. A simple DIY upgrade to this thrifted find. Once it is completely dried, I styled it on a shelf layered with a mirror and a couple of other winter decor pieces that just set the stage for a nice, cozy, inviting home. Once again, using those special, unique, one-of-a-kind decor items. This $2.99 Goodwill Pinecone Basket didn't require anything more than using a can of air to dust it and then Lysol it down so that it was clean. I set it up with a little winter scene on my thrifted stool that I flipped. That was in a video that I will have linked down below. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you are inspired with new ideas for thrifting and upcycling DIY projects for home decor. These videos are so much fun for me. I love thrifting and I love DIY, so to share that with you has been my pleasure. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I always appreciate that. I will see you very soon in the next video. Until then, have a wonderful and blessed day.